Hello and welcome to G Fun Facts Online, your go-to source for mind-blowing insights into the world around us. Today, we're diving deep into something that touches all our lives. Social bonding. Why do we form friendships, fall in love, or feel that unbreakable connection with our families? And it's not just us humans. This drive to connect is fundamental for so many species, from the tiniest insects to the largest mammals. It's all about forming and maintaining relationships that are crucial for survival and reproduction. While how we bond might look different across the animal kingdom, the science reveals some truly fascinating common threads. So let's explore the amazing neurobiology behind what makes us, and other creatures, social beings. At the very heart of social bonding are some powerful chemicals called neuropeptides, and the two superstars here are oxytocin and vasopressin. Think of them as ancient messengers in the brain. In fact, they have non-mammalian cousins, like oxytocin and vasotocin, that do similar jobs in other animals. In mammals, oxytocin often gets called the love hormone, or cuddle chemical. It's heavily involved in maternal bonding, encouraging nurturing behaviors, helping mothers recognize their young, and cementing that strong mother-infant attachment. Vasopressin, on the other hand, especially in males, is often linked to forming pair bonds, to behaviors like mate guarding, protecting territory, and even aggression towards rivals who might threaten those bonds. Scientists have learned a ton from studying monogamous species like prairie voles. These little rodents form lifelong partnerships, and it turns out that the density and location of oxytocin and vasopressin receptors in their brains are absolutely critical for this. If they have more of these receptors in the reward centers of their brain, they tend to form stronger bonds. What's really cool is that even in animals like fish, similar neuropeptides and their receptors are busy regulating social hangouts and pair bonding, which tells us these systems are incredibly old from an evolutionary standpoint. But it's not just about oxytocin and vasopressin. The brain's reward system, largely driven by another chemical called dopamine, plays a huge role too. When animals, including us, engage in positive social interactions, like grooming each other, mating, or caring for offspring, it activates these dopamine pathways. This feels good, so it reinforces those behaviors and helps associate those good feelings with specific individuals. Let's go back to our prairie vole friends. For them, the teamwork between oxytocin or vasopressin and the dopamine system, especially in a brain area called the nucleus accumbens, is essential. It helps them link the rewarding feeling of social contact with recognizing a particular partner, which is key to forming that lasting bond. So while the exact behaviors and the cues used for bonding might differ wildly between species, using the brain's reward pathways to cement social connections seems to be a pretty common strategy across the board. Now, which parts of the brain are lighting up when these social bonds are forming? Several key areas are consistently involved. We're talking about the amygdala, which processes emotions. The prefrontal cortex, important for decision-making and social behavior. The hypothalamus, which is actually a major production site for oxytocin and vasopressin, especially a part called the paraventricular nucleus. And then there's the nucleus accumbens and ventral pallidum, both crucial for reward and motivation. These regions are all part of a larger social brain network. This network is responsible for processing social cues, figuring out their emotional importance, and then triggering the right social responses. Comparative studies show that while the basic layout of these brain regions is pretty similar across species, there are subtle, species-specific differences in how they're wired and how sensitive they are to various neurochemicals. These differences likely contribute to the amazing diversity of social structures and bonding patterns we see in nature. For instance, the really complex maternal bonds and pair bonds we see in primates, including humans, are thought to be supported by more intricate and flexible brain circuits that are also shaped by our early life experiences, even though the basic building blocks are shared with other mammals. It's not just about these specific chemicals and brain regions either. Gene expression studies have given us even more clues. By comparing closely related species with different social lifestyles, like the monogamous prairie voles and the more solitary meadow voles, scientists have found many genes, beyond just those for oxytocin and vasopressin, that play a part in the ability to bond. These genes are involved in all sorts of things, like building neurons, changing how synapses connect, and regulating other genes. This shows us that social bonding has a really multifaceted genetic basis. And here's where it gets even more interesting: epigenetic modifications. These are changes that don't alter the DNA sequence itself, but can affect how genes are expressed. Things like the quality of parental care received early in life can cause these epigenetic changes, which can then significantly impact adult social behavior and the capacity to form bonds. This constant dance between our genes and our environment really highlights how adaptable the neurobiological systems for social bonding are. There's also the aspect of communicating emotional states. Across many species, this can involve synchronized neural activity between individuals who are interacting. Even in rodents, scientists have observed things like emotional contagion, where one animal's fear can spread to another, and even consolation behaviors. These suggest there are primitive forms of empathy that probably help hold social groups together. In some species, you see these intricate social interactions that coordinate behaviors, like parents sharing the duties of raising young over long periods. So to wrap it all up, the neurobiology of social bonding is an incredibly rich and constantly evolving field of study. When we look across different species, we see this amazing pattern: core mechanisms that are conserved, mainly involving those key neuropeptides like oxytocin and vasopressin, and the brain's reward circuitry. But alongside these common themes, there are countless species-specific adaptations that create the breathtaking diversity of social lives we see on our planet. Understanding these intricate neural underpinnings isn't just fascinating for its own sake. It gives us profound insights into how social behavior evolved. Plus, it holds real potential for helping us understand and perhaps even address social deficits in various human conditions. It truly is a window into what connects us all. That's all the time we have for today on G Fun Facts Online. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you feel a little more bonded to the amazing world of science.